Hello, and welcome back to the Impossible Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Architect Anna, and I'm an entrepreneur on a mission to do the impossible. And this episode is about the automation boundary. What is that? And I'm going to ask you a couple questions multiple times. And the first question, and this is the automation boundary, is if you could automate everything in your life, where would you stop? That's the question. That's the boundary. So everyone's automation boundary is going to be different. We're going to talk about where this came from, some examples of people I've talked to and they've told me what their boundary is and isn't. And then we can think about a little bit what your boundaries are and potentially how to implement them for the things that you really just don't want to do. Okay. But yeah, where would you stop? Okay. So the automation boundary is a concept created from Zach Cass, and he is a renowned artificial intelligence strategist, global keynote speaker, and the former head of go-to-market at OpenAI. So he knows his stuff. Basically, the automation boundary defines the line between what we are comfortable delegating to a machine of some kind, a computer, an AI, whatever it might be, and what humanity must retain for itself, what you feel is inherently human and what needs to sit with you. So the goal of this boundary is to maximize efficiency while preserving meaning, agency, and human connection, which I think is so powerful. And when we're talking about AI, this conversation comes up a lot. It comes up with offloading your intelligence, with delegating your decision making, with using AI for all of these different things, for using AI for social connection. So where do you personally draw the line? Where do you stop? Like if you could automate your dishes being done, your house being cleaned, showering, sleeping, getting groceries. Where would you personally draw the line? What is it that, and also with this exercise, you might start to realize what you like doing, but where is it that you would stop? If you're like, well, I would love to not have to exercise if that was a thing that could be automated. I don't know. I think there's limits right now, even for what robotics can do. But where would you personally draw the line? I was talking to someone and they were saying how them and their friends always loved mowing the lawn, right? Like mowing the lawn in their backyard, making sure their garden looked tidy, that kind of thing. And then they got like a little robo lawn mower to actually do it for them, just like the robo vacuums that like go around your house that you see videos of cats sitting on. Just like that, but for outside. And I was like, oh, how does it do? Does it like hit bushes or trees? And he's like, nah, it just goes on it tries to go backwards and forwards on a straight route. I was like, okay, well, did you feel like that was a task that you then missed doing? And he was like, no, it was great. I got to then sit inside in an air conditioned house and it did it for me. And then I could relax with a beer watching TV or I could do whatever I want while it's doing that thing. So initially he was like, yeah, that would be a thing that I like doing. I like mowing the lawn. It's part of what I do. And his friends were still like, no, I don't think I would want to do that with a robot lawnmower. But again, it's going to be different from person to person. Yeah, personally, if I didn't have to cook, clean, shower, or sleep, like if that was all just like taken care of, that'd be great. And I know or eat. I know that sounds insane. But for me, yeah, I would like to be productive. I would like to get a lot of things done. There's things that I do enjoy doing, but a lot of the time, eating and sleeping and keeping clean and doing all this stuff just feels like effort. Don't get me wrong. I do it. I do it all. I do all the things. I try and, eat the right foods, exercise, get enough sleep, maintain good personal hygiene, obviously. Like keep my house clean, take care of my cat, all of that. But if I didn't have to, what would I cut, right? And then also, where would you draw the line? Because you're like, I actually need to do parts of that. Otherwise, I think things would just kind of like start to degrade and deteriorate. Like if I got a lot of time back, yes, I would do a lot of work, but I feel like I'd also just chill on the couch and watch TV and hang out with my cat, and that would be nice. But it's going to depend from person to person. Like also, social outings, lovely. Can't do them very often because I don't have energy for them because of all the other things I do in my life. And if I got that energy back, would that mean that I could have better relationships with my friends? Would it mean I could like go do things and make the memories? Maybe. But because I've had like energy issues for years, it's just never really seemed like an option. So for you, the automation boundary could be any number of different areas. Of course, you're going to think, What are the things that you don't like doing first, right? What are the things that you do at your work that you're like, in a simple way, what could actually be automated? We're not necessarily talking about AI agents, or we're not talking about robotics at this point, just like simple automation. What would you start with? Make a list. Make a list. Then, for the more complex stuff, what would you just love to get off your plate? For me, uh, content creation. I like filming these podcast episodes. I think they're chill, they're fun, but then actually going through the process, even though, like, don't get me wrong, I reduced this entire process from over 40 hours a month to about 5 hours a month. Still, the 5 hours still feels like a little bit too much for me right now. I would love if there was a way that I could make that even faster while still having the necessary checks in place for quality. Because right now, that can happen. You can batch, edit, and schedule things, but if you're not actually personally reviewing them, you don't know what could be going out. And if that's, that could affect your personal brand, that could affect your reputation, your career, your business. It's something that you would want to, pay a little bit more attention to. So right now, I'm spending, 5 minutes, maybe maximum 10 minutes on a singular clip that might go out on social media. But it would be great if I didn't have to do that, because like that does add up. That mental load adds up. If you do it all at once and you batch it, cool. But otherwise, it can start to add up. And there's ways to do this. Like if you start to use AI agents and you connect them to whatever your hosting platform is, your third-party platform for content creation specifically, yes, there's definitely ways that you can absolutely streamline it. But if you are the one on camera and it is your voice and your brand, you might want to be a little bit more cautious about that. Unless you have tons and tons of content to train the AI to make sure that it only clips the right thing. That's also what I'm trying to do. Anytime that you want to do something. So if you identify an area of your work or your life that you're like, ooh, automation boundary, I would love to actually simplify, streamline that, automate it from my life so that I get my time and energy back. And it doesn't necessarily feel feasible right now because of that quality assurance aspect. If you do it enough times and you have enough data of what good looks like, it's going to be much more likely that an AI will be able to do it, not 100% by itself, but maybe at some point 100% by itself if you want it to be autonomous. So there's lots of different ways that you can look at that. Like, for example, I would love, and I am going to, train an AI to take sales calls for me, but the process of getting to that point is not immediate. I can't just have an AI do it in the way that I would do it, have the type of conversations, share the information, have the type of like value and, empathy that I would want on a call. So it's a slow process. And I worked with Claude Fable while I had access to be able to like pressure test this strategy about building out Anna AI. Because I'm an AI trainer and I work in AI, having an AI take calls for me is not crazy. It's actually proof of concept of what my business is doing, testing these things, demoing these different tools, and actually building things. So in my case, it works. Also, I'm going to be 100% transparent that someone will be speaking to an AI version of me and not actually me. I think when people use AI in a way that's like not transparent, especially in sales, it can feel very uncomfortable when the person figures out, or even if they don't figure out, I think there's like an ethical issue with not telling people. So I would make it like part of it, make it part of the game. Yeah, check out Anna AI. She's fun. She's a little bit blunt, but have a conversation with her. She'll get you where you need to go. And then also the areas that I might feel less comfortable with sales, like, I can say the price. If in case you've never got into sales, but you're trying to be an entrepreneur, trying to be a business owner, you need to be able to like name your price and say it with conviction, and then pause and not follow up with excuses or payment plans or anything like that. That I can do. But getting to that point, making the ask, there's ways to do it it's quite technical actually. Yes, you need to like feel the flow of the call, but you can get to that point. So I'm working the next like 20, 30 calls that I get permission to have transcribed. Permission is key, consent is key. Making sure you get that checked from like a legal perspective as well as just like an ethical perspective. Once I get those transcripts, I can then actually start to analyze them, pull out different pieces of information, create additional simulations from those, and then get those transcripts of the AI simulations of those calls for little bits that might be missing. Like maybe it's a little section of like the crossover or the bridge between discovery diagnostic section to the pitch, or the pitch to the close, or objection handling. Maybe there's an objection that I want to like run a few more times to get a different result. You can simulate with that with AI, but it's good to have like a realistic baseline. So getting those transcripts on calls that you have approved is great. And then you don't actually move to like a voice or video call first, because those are far more complex. So actually, one of the things that Claude Fable really helped me with was just being like, no, don't start with voice. You're going to go mental. It was like, start with a chat version. Because one of the things about like business and sales and automation and trying to keep things like streamlined is, even if you have like a high ticket offer and even if what you are doing is amazing, the point between when someone, for whatever reason, they get to booking a call with you to actually taking that call is usually a gap. It might be as few as a few hours, up to a couple days, potentially like a week or 2 weeks. And between the point of them booking and them actually having the call with you, first of all, they could not show up despite how many reminders you send them, and no-shows are super annoying. But they could also lose their intent and momentum and have changed their mind. So you want to make sure that you're capturing someone when they are high intent, high momentum, and moving forward with something and ready to take action. Because it's a mindset. It's not necessarily just a logical decision, because sometimes even if they know logically it's the right thing to do, their fear is holding them back for one reason or another. So I've been working on a sales funnel that I've been building with Claude, with a bunch of other different systems, building a customized CRM system, all tracked, all with like follow-up email sequences, which at the moment they have to come through me for approval so that I can check them in the initial phase before I can just like let them fly. It's all getting set up to be very, very streamlined, but we are not there yet. But once they go through the funnel, then they would be able to have a conversation immediately with to start out with a chat version of me. So once I have enough of these transcripts of calls and all of these things, then I can go in, build a chat version of AI Anna, and have that immediately available to answer people's questions, to qualify leads, and then book them onto an actual call as an initial step. So like that conversation first, then book a call, and then eventually create a voice version of myself and then a video version of myself. And so that someone can immediately take a voice call or a video call with Anna AI and potentially even close them for like high intent buyers, or book a follow-up with me in person. I mean, not in person, but when I'm available, which it really depends. I'm thinking my availability might only be like 1 day per week in the future that I could carve out as like a day for onboarding calls, client calls, and potentially like a few discrete sales calls, because things are getting busy. So it's just a massive bottleneck. So it wasn't just like a nice thing to have for me. Oh, I would love to be able to automate that bit, to be able to like have a thing take calls for me. It's like, no, my schedule's kind of ridiculous, and I can't do all of it myself. Like I can only do so much as a me. And if you've ever wondered, how would someone individually scale a business to 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures? How would they do that by themselves? Like, yes, you might potentially have consultants, but how would they do it? This is potentially a way. Because I always thought I was going to have to bring on another sales closer or another person to have these conversations and calls. But actually, the thing is, as good as that might be, those people leave, their schedules are their schedules, they have good days and bad days, whereas this way, all of it is compounding. If you've got these transcripts from an AI and it is constantly self-improving and learning and analyzing, and then feeding that information back into the rest of your marketing and sales funnel to also continually improve, then you have like a consistent feedback loop. Then that would reduce an entire huge bottleneck. So again, if you're thinking about your automation boundary, you might have like a very clear objective of something that you would love for automation or AI or robotics to be able to do one day. But the thing is, you're going to need to be able to train it to do well, to do it the way that you would do it. So that's not necessarily a fast process. It's going to take me a couple months to get all of this information that I need just to go to the text version. Then once the text version of Anna AI is deployed, it'll probably be another couple months before I can move to a confident version of the voice version and then the video version. There's subtleties in tone and all of those things that have to be trained in. I'll probably use 11 Labs API for that, but there's other options out there. Just looking at what I already have access to. uh, yeah, I have currently got so many more AI tools. It's crazy. I got Lenny's List Product Pass. If you haven't heard it, check it out. You can basically, for like $400, get, I don't know, 20 awesome tools for a year. Just make sure to cancel your renewal so that they don't renew in 12 months and you're like, oh my God, what just happened? But yeah, that's been great because I needed so many of them to be able to build out my systems. I've been building out apps, I've been building out websites, I've been building out like automation sequences and workflows and CRM systems, and it's beautiful. I love it. There's so many things that I was like behind in with my business. And there's been a whole new level of unlock when it comes to like AI, especially using AI agents. And that's also what I'm going to talk about a little bit in the next episode is building your AI brain, but talking about AI agents and how you can use them effectively. And part of it is going to be with anything that you might automate or streamline or simplify within your work, or your business, or your life. It is going to be, is the reward worth whatever risk there might be? So this comes up a lot when I'm talking to businesses and executives and leaders when they're talking about like what they're really excited about with AI. And I'm like, okay, for your particular business and the industry that you're in and the regulations that you have to abide by, even though those are very exciting and great things that you could do, it's probably not going to be suitable. So for you, like if you are a solo entrepreneur in a less regulated industry, you could probably take like some decent risks. Like do it responsibly, and there's lots of ways to go about doing and testing these things responsibly. Listen to the episode I made on hack your business's success. I think I talk a little bit about doing that in like safe sandboxes, but it's just something to bear in mind because yes, there's so many exciting opportunities out there that you can get like massive time savings and massive wins. But again, measure out the risk. So, I mean, yeah, I have very much, I like put off building my website for like my whole time as an entrepreneur, so like 3.5 years. I had a website and I was like, it's fine, but I never really had like a proper website. And then whenever people would ask me, I'd be like, oh, but like it's just like it's under development. I'm not currently, it's not quite there right now. But yeah, then I was able to build that in I think a couple hours after building my design brief and guides and all of that based on like slide decks and templates that I'd built in Canva, exporting those, saving those into the AI, building out a design system with colors and fonts and all of that, you get it. And yeah, then just being able to build out these websites, which I've done on Lovable. They don't need to do anything crazy. They don't need to do lots of code. Also, I've gotten a bit more advanced. I connected Lovable to GitHub with the interface on your computer to then be able to speak to it with Claude Code as well in Terminal. And I'm like, oh my goodness, so technical. Like 3 months ago, I would have never. But no, I've done so much. It's great. Like I've really used this summer period and this gap with like things that have changed in my work and also I guess my life because I had major surgery to, upskill, to test things, to try things, to work in different sectors and markets. So it's been really, really exciting. Anyways, enough about me. So this is just an example of potentially things that you could streamline and you could simplify. But with the automation boundary, which is what we're talking about, if you could automate everything in your life, where would you stop? What do you feel is inherently human and therefore you would like to keep it? But also for your own personal well-being, where would you want to draw the line? Like for me, I have lots and lots of conversations. I'm on camera a lot, and it can be a little bit tiring to do that consistently. So giving myself this space to have days in a row of deep work where I'm off camera and I'm not constantly taking calls or delivering training or having strategy sessions would be a huge, huge win for me. Even though those conversations are part of the human experience, I have to like you, protect your energy and your time. So just something to bear in, just something to think about. If you could automate everything, where would you stop? Definitely, I would I talk to my family pretty much every day. I would want to keep doing that. Want to spend time with my cat. Want to like eat nice food, not just like food to have fuel to do things, but food that would be fun. Um, Ooh, if I could automate the amount of protein I have to eat for my surgical recovery, that would be awesome. But I, have to. So anyways, where would you draw the line? What do you feel like is inherently human you would like to do it? Like going for a nice walk, like going to explore the weather. If it's a nice day, what would you like to do? So figure out what it is for you and protect it. Protect those things. And then for the things that are easy, quick wins that you might be able to take care of, line them up, knock them down. And for the things that might be huge wins but are going to be a little bit harder, like building an AI version of you to take sales calls, that they have a constant feedback loop and an agentic improving organization, then just put in the time, create a system for how you are collecting that information to then be able to do it strategically and effectively going forwards. And that's it for the automation boundary. So next up, we're going to be talking about building your AI brain. It's a cool subject. It comes with a lot of different titles of what that could be for you, but that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. So I'll see you then.